Hey guys, a warm welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to take you all on another supercar treasure hunt. We're going off around the world, so grab yourself a beverage of choice, sit back, enjoy the show, and let's go on a little adventure together. Cheers. Not long ago, I set out on a mission to try and find a Ferrari F40 that had been abandoned many years before somewhere in Iraq. Well, it didn't take long for that treasure hunt to go viral, and at one point it felt like we had every single car enthusiast around the world trying to track down the F40. It didn't take us long. We successfully managed to find the car, and although we didn't quite attain the goal that I was hoping, I wanted to buy the car and get it back here in Ratarossa garage and restore it back to its former glory in front of you guys on the channel. Anyway, during that time I was also sent many other Ferraris and supercars from around the world that have been sat neglected, either rotting away in a barn, on a driveway, or in the case of this particular car, sat on the side of the road for the last 17 years, unmoved, untouched, just rotting away in the sunshine. Well, the Ferrari in question happens to be one of my personal favourites, one that I'm quite familiar with myself, having built one from a rolling chassis upwards. We are talking about a Ferrari Testarossa and a project like the Ratarossa that most people would shy away from. Anyway, this happens to be my favourite model in the Testarossa era. It's exactly the same as the Ratarossa. It's a 1987 car, which means it's got the centre lock wheels and also the twin mirrors. Let's have a close look at that car and just see what it's going to take, in my opinion, to put this car right and back on the road where it belongs. Our journey starts a long way from London, 4,200 miles away on the island of Puerto Rico. With a population of just over 3 million people, finding a Ferrari, let alone a neglected one, is quite rare. When so many of you sent me images of this 80s poster iconic Testarossa looking very sorry for itself, I simply couldn't believe how a car of this pedigree could be left in such a neglected way. Let's take a tour of the car, dive inside, and see just what 17 years of neglect have done to this poor Ferrari. A big thanks to Gerald from Abandoned Cars, Puerto Rico, for supplying the footage of that car. You can follow Gerald over on his Instagram channel. Now with his help, we have managed to track down the owner of the Testarossa, and amazingly, he has owned that car since new. And even more amazingly, he is willing to sell it. But before I reveal the price the owner is asking for that Testarossa, let me share with you my thoughts whether it's worth saving and what it's likely to cost to put that car right. Let's take a closer look at the pictures and see whether this one is worth saving or not. First, let's focus on the exterior of the car, and the obvious factor here is it is going to need a full respray. But the body does look straight, there's no visible dents, and another big positive on this one, from our tour around the car, it looks complete. Apart from a missing front light lens I spotted, and the car sat on a spare wheel, with the original one being extremely expensive, very rare, no longer made by Ferrari. I also want to show you a theory I have on the wheel. And maybe you're wondering about rust. Well, there's another good bit of news here with Testarossas. Let me give you a demonstration on my car. Here, so I've got a really strong magnet here. If I place it on the engine lid there, nothing. Wings, nothing. That's because these are all aluminium. Petrol cap, steel. Doors, also steel. And then the rest of the car, nothing. They're all aluminium. So really, the major concern points to look out for on that car would be the doors, and also all of the framework and chassis work on the car. That would all need to be checked. Up front in the trunk, everything's there, all the carpets, and look at this, we have the tool kit, we have the jack kit, and we even have the spare wheel wrench. You will not believe the price of those 3 items alone. Let me show you my theory on my Testarossa. So if we lift up this front compartment, and then if I move that jack kit there, now have a look at this. See this carpet panel? It's right down. The gap there is quite big. If we check that on the photo, it's a lot more smaller. Now the reason, this is my spare wheel, as you can see, is the same as the one on the back of that car. Now it's a low profile wheel, obviously a lot slimmer than the normal back wheel, and as you can see it sits there. So I think on that Testarossa the wheel is actually in the front compartment there. So again, basically that means that whole car is complete. There's nothing missing. Next we have the engine and electrics, and again it's all complete, there's nothing missing, but you would need a full engine out service on this one. You would need to replace all of those rubber pipes and hosing, some of that rusty stuff, and it obviously needs a really good cleanup in there. More on the engine in a second. I'm going to reveal something that is going to shock you on this one, and it's the same story with the electrics. It's typical 80s Ferrari. They are a weak point on there, so everything electrics wise would need a good going over. And finally, there's the interior. Again, it's all complete. The dash has really suffered badly from all of that heat and sunshine. That would need complete retrimming, but look at those seats. Amazingly, they actually look pretty decent. And then what do we have? Our missing front lens sat there on that center console. Obviously, that is not the extensive list. There's other areas that are going to be needing to have a look at, such as the suspension, the brakes. All of that would need to be taken into consideration. And of course, all of this is just my opinion. I would love to hear what your thoughts are on that car. So let me know in the comments below the video. Now I have one more bit of key information to share with you about that Testarossa that makes the project even more appealing. Not only has it got a single owner since new, and how many Testarossas out there can you say have got that? Very, very few indeed. No, you are probably wondering, after 17 years of that car sat still, not moved, has the engine seized up? Well, I can answer that question. Have a look at this.
Ya está grabando. Ok. Quitar el switch. Voy otra vez, quitar el switch. Huele a viejo. Zumba.
Prendió bien.
Eso, con eso me conformo, muchacho. Uy, dale otra vez. Dale otra vez.
¿Me está inyectando?
Sí, eso voy a ver ahora. Ya la jodida es que como no está estirado acá. Último try, dale. A ver, estamos ready. Ahora déjalo quieto.
Yes, amazingly and rather insanely, they attempted to start that Testarossa. Risky is an understatement of the year for that one, with that Ferrari sat with cam belts at least 17 years old that are supposed to be changed every 3 years. Anyway, they held up. Besides the craziness of that, it does mean one vital thing. That engine is not seized, and it also sounds like with a little bit of extra work, that engine would run quite nicely. So, along with that, they also, after 17 years, moved the car to a new location. So it's time to reveal the price on that Testarossa. The owner is asking $30,000 US for it. Is that worth it? Well, let me share with you a couple of bits of information to help you decide. First, let's start off by taking a look at the current Testarossa market, both here in the UK and also in the US. Taking even the cheapest examples available for sale currently, we are looking at around $90,000. So allowing for a decent shipping sum, that leaves us with over $55,000 to play with, being able to restore this desired one owner Testarossa. Finally, I want to show you that at $30,000, it's almost a fail-safe. Take a look at your final option. If you can't get this car fixed, this is your get out of jail free card. Now we know the engine works, it's not seized, and if that gearbox is also good, then that is worth just as much as the engine. Everything on this car is expensive, which is why having the car complete is a huge bonus. Just look at some of these examples. A single wheel, £2,000. A set of wheel nuts, another £2,000. Just the wheel wrench alone that we saw in the front of that car, £500. So really at 30,000, to summarize, you already have parts worth more than the asking alone. So you really can't lose with this one. Well guys, that Testarossa is off the table for me. I already have my hands full with plenty of other Ferraris to keep me going. However, if it was located here in the UK, it would be a different story. I would probably take that one on. I don't see any kind of major issue with that Testarossa that we haven't dealt with already on another Testarossa project. But I'm sure there is somebody out there who is very tempted with an asking price of $30,000. You're getting a lot of car for the money. And as I showed you, there is a fail safe. I don't think you can lose on this one. So if anyone does buy it, I'll be happy to help and lend a hand and lend some advice on how you can fix that one up. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed today's little adventure. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and if you want to see what I get up to on a daily basis, check me out over on my Instagram account down here. Until the next time guys, ciao for now.